Hello, I'm Ayhan Yavuz and welcome to my channel. Is your life working out for you? Are you feeling exhausted, confused, or like you are constantly walking on eggshells in your relationship? In this video, we examine a theme that many people are currently discussing and thinking about: narcissistic traits. I'm diving deep into the 7 specific red flags that often indicate high levels of narcissism. Understanding these patterns is the first step toward gaining clarity and protecting your emotional well-being. I'm happy that you have decided to spend some time with me today. We are going to explore a topic that is frequently mentioned in our daily lives. Do I dare even to inquire whether you have spent any time on the internet or talking to friends? You have likely heard the word narcissist used to describe a boss, an ex-partner, or even a family member. It is a word that has become a staple of our modern vocabulary. But because we use it so much, it is easy to lose sight of what it actually means. I have spent some time thinking about this because the way we describe people matters. It affects how we treat them and, more importantly, how we protect our own peace of mind. I personally do not like labeling people, but before we go any further, I must share an essential disclaimer. I am not a doctor, a psychologist, or a clinician. I am an interested observer just like you. I am not using this information to diagnose you, your partner, or anyone else. Diagnosis is a serious clinical process that requires years of specialized training. If you are listening to this because you are in emotional pain or because you are worried about your mental health, please acknowledge that you can see a professional for help. The American Psychiatric Association provides the formal gold standard criteria for these conditions in the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. 5th edition, text revision. While this manual exists to guide doctors, it is not something we should use to label ourselves or others without a professional's guidance. If what we discussed today feels close to home, the next best step is to speak with a licensed therapist who can offer an accurate perspective. Let's talk about the spectrum of human behavior. To start our journey today, we need to understand that narcissism exists on a spectrum. I have found it helpful to think of it not as a yes or no switch, but as a volume knob. At the lowest level, we have what experts call healthy narcissism. This is just basic self-esteem. It is the part of you that feels proud when you do a good job, the part that wants to look nice for a special occasion, and the part that believes you deserve to be treated with respect. Without a little bit of this, we would not have the drive to succeed or the courage to set boundaries. However, as the volume turns up, we move into narcissistic traits. This is where things get complicated. And I'm talking about behaviors that start to interfere with how we relate to other people. When the volume is turned all the way up, that is when a professional might begin to consider a clinical personality disorder. I have noticed that many people feel fear when they hear these terms. They worry that having one or more traits makes them a bad person. But I want to remind you that traits are not the same as a person's entire identity. We are here to look at the patterns of behavior to gain understanding, not to pass final judgment on someone's soul. So, the 7 red flags. I have observed 7 key red flags that often signal high narcissistic traits. Let us walk through them together so you can understand the patterns you might be seeing in your own life. Red flag number 1, the constant need for validation. I have heard this described as a bottomless pit. A person with these traits does not just enjoy praise, they require it to feel stable. If they enter a room and they are not the center of attention, they may feel invisible. It is as if their sense of self exists only when someone else reflects it to them. You might notice that every conversation eventually leads back to them. If you tell a story about your day, they might interrupt to say a better version of their own day. This is often referred to as narcissistic supply. Without this constant flow of admiration, they can become irritable or even aggressive. Red flag number 2, the Grandiose Mask. This is more than just confidence. It is a persistent belief that they are fundamentally better or more special than the people around them. They may feel that they are too brilliant or too unique to be understood by ordinary people. I have observed that this often manifests as a preoccupation with fantasies of unlimited success, power, or beauty. In a relationship, this can be very difficult because the narcissistic person may feel that their partner's needs are too small compared to their own grandiose goals. They may look down on others whom they perceive as average or unimportant. Red flag number 3, the Entitlement Rule. This flag causes significant friction in daily life. Entitlement is the belief that you deserve a special treatment without having to earn it. It is the person who believes they should not have to wait in line, or the partner who thinks they should never have to do chores because their time is too valuable. They expect automatic compliance with their expectations. When things do not go their way, they do not just feel disappointed, they feel personally wronged. They may become angry at a service worker for a minor mistake or expect you to drop everything to help them, even if they would never do the same for you. Red flag number 4, interpersonal exploitation. To exploit someone means to use them for your own gain without regard for their well-being. This might look like a friend who only calls when they need a favor, or a partner who uses your emotional labor, your money, or your connections without ever intending to return the favor. I have found that this behavior is often very subtle. The person may not even realize they are doing it. They see other people as tools or extensions of themselves rather than as individuals with their own rights and feelings. Red flag number 5, the empathy gap. This is perhaps the most famous and painful red flag. Empathy is the ability to feel what another person is feeling. For someone with high narcissistic traits, this muscle is often very weak. They may be able to intellectualize empathy, meaning they know they should say, I'm sorry you're sad, but they do not actually feel the weight of your sadness. This creates a profound sense of loneliness for you. You can be sitting right next to them, crying, and feel as though you are 1,000 miles away. If you express pain, they may even turn it around and tell you that you are making them feel bad by being upset. Red flag number 6, the love bomb phase, idealization. This flag usually appears at the very beginning of a relationship. During this phase, they treat you like you are the most fantastic person in the world. They shower you with affection, gifts, and intensity. They might say things like, I have never felt this way before, after only a week. It feels terrific and it is designed to sweep you off your feet. However, I have observed that this is often a way to build a deep dependence before the next phase begins. It is a high that sets the stage for the low to come. Red flag number 7, the cold shift, devaluation. This is the final flag in the typical cycle. Suddenly, the person who put you on a pedestal starts to knock you off of your it, and they become critical, cold, or dismissive. You find yourself working harder and harder to get back to that first love bomb phase, but the rules keep changing. This is what many people describe as walking on eggshells. You become afraid to speak your mind because you do not want to trigger their anger or their silence. This shift is designed to keep you off balance and to keep the other person in a position of emotional power. When you look at these 7 red flags together, you see a pattern of behavior designed to keep one person in the spotlight while the other feels smaller and smaller. It is a dynamic that can lead to you losing your own sense of self. You might find that you have stopped doing your hobbies or seeing your friends because all of your energy is going into managing the other person's emotions. It is exhausting to live as an audience member in your own life. I want to tell you today that your feelings are valid. If you feel like you are disappearing, that is not a sign of your weakness. It is a natural response to a relationship that lacks empathy and balance. I also want to speak to the people who are listening and thinking, wait, I recognize some of these red flags in myself. I want to tell you that I'm proud of you for having the courage to listen to this. Most people who are genuinely at the extreme end of the narcissism spectrum will never ask themselves if they have a problem. The fact that you are worried about it is a sign of self-awareness. I have found that many of us developed these traits as a defense mechanism. These traits are often a shield that we wear to protect a very fragile inner part of ourselves. If you find that you struggle with entitlement or empathy, Please know that these are things you can work on. You can learn to build genuine connections that are not based on power, but just like any other deep-seated pattern, it is usually requires the help of a professional to unpack. Now, the difference between ego and narcissism. It is worth taking a moment to clarify the difference between having a big ego and having these 7 red flags. We all know someone who is a bit arrogant, but a person with a healthy ego can still apologize when they are wrong. They can still feel bad when they hurt your feelings. The difference with the traits we are discussing today is the rigidity. For someone high in narcissism, being wrong feels like a total destruction of their self-worth. That is why they may gaslight you or rewrite history rather than admit a mistake. If admitting they were wrong means they are not perfect, then their mind simply cannot go there. This rigidity is what prevents the relationship from ever growing or healing. As we begin to wrap up, I want to address the complexity of these situations. Human beings are rarely all good or all bad. Even someone with high narcissistic traits has moments of kindness. This is what makes it so hard to leave these relationships. You remember the love bomb phase, and you hope that if you just love them enough, they will return to that person. I have observed that change occurs only when the person with the traits recognizes the pattern and seeks long-term help. It cannot be forced from the outside. If you are waiting for a person to realize they are hurting you and they consistently show flag 5, the empathy gap, you may be waiting for something that they are currently unable to give. Part of understanding these red flags is learning when to stop trying to change the other person and when to start protecting your own well-being. We have covered a lot of ground today. We have walked through the spectrum of self-esteem and the 7 red flags, the need for validation, grandiosity, entitlement, exploitation, the empathy gap, idealization, and devaluation. I am so thankful that you chose to spend this time with me. I want to end by reminding you that you do not have to figure this out alone. While the American Psychiatric Association has mapped these behaviors in the DSM-5-TR, that map is intended for professionals. If you feel that these 7 flags are causing pain in your life, please reach out to a licensed therapist or a counselor. They have the training to help you navigate this reality safely. If you are in a relationship, you deserve to be seen, heard, and valued. I have been your host, and I hope this has given you the clarity you were looking for. Take care of yourself, and I will talk to you again in the next episode. Thank you.